Main event time with Fight Night picks. As always, one half your host and duo, Craig Allen. Twitter and Instagram at Craig Allen FNP. With me to my left, to your right, it's Lakers super fan. Forget about the Raptors. Matt Allen FNP.
About Nick Nurse at least.
On the socials. And in the main event, impromptu, Moicano is out. Zarukian can't find a dance partner. So insert last weekend's supposed co-main event. It was supposed to be 3 rounds between Song Yadong taking on Ricky Simón. They're in space in the graphic, but now all of a sudden they're not. They found space. They're in a 5-round main event, and that definitely serves Song Yadong quite well. His last fight was his first main event,
and that was what I wanted to bring up too. I was going to say, who do you think benefits the most from the 10 minutes? And my sort of kind of hot take was, you would normally think, oh, well, the guy who uses the wrestling, right, the pressure is probably going to favor him. But, and I don't just say this because Song Yadong lost by Dr. Stoppage's last time out, but who is the more damaging fighter between these two? Yes, Ricky Simón has great takedowns, great submissions, and his striking has improved, but at the end of the day, Song Yadong is still the much more damaging striker between these two guys, and although he has had a liability of getting held down in the past, it's not like he gets tired in 3-round matchups or gets tired defending takedowns, so I do think Song Yadong is going to benefit from these extra 10 minutes just because he's not going to get tired, I don't think, because of the 10 minutes, and it gives him 10 more minutes to damage Ricky Simón and kind of make up for what he might give up in terms of wrestling control and takedowns.
Yeah, and we saw Ricky Simón back with the LFA in 2017, 2018, beating guys like Chico Camus and Vinicius Zaney, really recognizable names.
5 years ago.
On the regional scene, no, but in 5-round fights, he beats Merab when he makes his UFC debut. He did fight on Dana White's Contender Series, beat Donovan Freelo by split decision, didn't get a contract. That was in the first season of Contender Series. Since then, a really tidy run. Obviously, he had that rough loss to Uriah Faber when that was supposed to be the breakout moment for Simón. Then he got beat in a fight of the night against Rob Font where he couldn't get past that jab. But since then, tidy little win streak. Ray Borg that just can't get it together, sadly. Gaetano Parello, Kelleher, Asansao, Shore, and now all of a sudden Song Yadong. And for Yadong, I mean, you consider the level of competition for this guy in the UFC. It has been quite high since he's really been able to join, but the breakout performance that he had, his second to last fight, he knocks out the former title challenger, Marlon Moraes.
What a beautiful combination.
And it really was. I mean, sadly for Moraes, the way that he went out, and then he went out with PFL. But when you look at it for Song Yadong, what does he do so well? It's mixing his boxing combinations from the head to the body. Once he's able to figure out the distance against a pressure guy like Ricky Simón, we'll see how that plays out because Simón, not like Curtis Blades, but like Curtis Blades, Ricky Simón's really found a happy place and a sweet spot with his boxing. He's a guy that's trained down in, whether it be Syndicate out of Vegas, I know I struggle with that, out of the Pacific Northwest with ATT Portland, and we've seen Fabiano Scherner go on a roller coaster ride of emotions with fighters riding very high highs to the low lows of the retirement fight of Ed Herman recently. But for Simón, an interesting turn there. His cousin Vince Morales has a big fight coming up with ex-MMA, but Morales, one of those primary training partners that was in the UFC for a very long time. It's just Simón reached the pinnacle of his wrestling, then accentuated his boxing, and I wouldn't say Ricky Simón's going to go out there and try and box a Song Yadong. I think for maybe
stopped if he
minutes or seconds at the start of the first round, it's a feeling out process. I'm just eager to see with the motor of Simón if he's able to carry it through, and if we do end up in the championship rounds of a fight like this.
It will be interesting, because if Simón's not able to get a submission, I think it will be difficult for him, because I think he could get like a rear naked choke or an arm triangle in this, just because the control time might start to break down Song Yadong over time, and if he is able to get into like side control for a long period, the submissions might start to open up. I just worry about Simón on the feet and whether or not he's going to be able to be that kind of damaging striker against someone like Song Yadong, because Song moves really well on the feet. Like, he doesn't stop moving. He uses boxing to get in and get on the outside, and for those reasons, I was like 55-45 towards Ricky Simón the first time when we broke this fight down, but I gotta be honest, now that it's a 5-round fight and the fact that Song has been in that type of fight before, I thought he looked good even in a loss to Corey Sandhagen. Like, I thought in parts he looked really good on the feet. The boxing was able to flow when Sandhagen wasn't using his footwork, and I don't think Ricky Simón can move like Corey Sandhagen on the outside, so I just think for Song Yadong, there is a clear blueprint to winning this fight, and that has to be said, but the wrestling of Simón, if he can take him down for 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Song going down the home stretch.
6.55 takedown attempts average per 15 minutes for Ricky Simón. He's second all-time in bantamweight history with 37 takedowns, and if you consider it, Like, you look at his fights, you look at all the experience that he has inside of the octagon at 8-2. He's got a fight of the night. He's got a performance bonus as well. And you look at it for Song Yadong, a lot of parallels. And we brought this up last week, but if you consider it for Song Yadong, he fought Marlon Vera, and in that fight, Colin Oyama was in the corner of Marlon Vera. For Ricky Simón, his cousins Vince Morales, the Fabiano Scherner connection, Song Yadong beat Vince Morales over in Beijing a few years ago. So a lot of commonalities between these guys. The camps are deeply entrenched. It's almost a rivalry fight without these guys having fought each other before. So there's a lot deeper than just a surface level unranked couple of guys that are fighting. You have the number 8 ranked bantamweight in Song Yadong. You have number 10 in Ricky Simón. I mean, you consider it, Simón is an ever so slight favorite. We threw it out there over to the YouTube community tab really early on a Sunday morning, so the votes aren't really trickling in. But if you do have a look at it, 51% have Song Yadong to get the win. Over on Topology, 55% have
Very
Ricky
close.
Simón. So it is really, really close when you do break it down by the numbers. It's just for Song Yadong, he struggled with some of the takedown defense in the past. He comes out of Team Alpha Male. You're only going to get better iron sharpening iron in that respect. It's just, can he get up to the level of a guy like Ricky Simón with that takedown defense? That's a big question.
Ricky Simón does one thing with his boxing that I can't stand, and this is what it is. When he gets in on the pocket, lands his own shots, and then you fire back at him, he shells up.
And backs up.
But it's on a straight line and it's not effective defense at all. If Song Yadong just does the classic throw volume to get you to shell your hands up, you brought it up yourself. What is he great at doing? Dig into the body with boxing combinations. If he's able to do that early, I could see that really wearing on the gas tank of Ricky Simón. Again, my pick is Ricky Simón, even though I feel like I'm bringing up a lot of ways for Song Yadong to win this fight. But I think that just speaks to how close this fight is, and that has to be said too. Song Yadong fights in a pretty close manner to Rob Font. And he trains with Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber owns the gym he goes to. So I do think there's a great way for Song to win this fight. But this is a fun one because the winner's probably not getting a title shot. But we know how Logjam 135 is right now. So you know they're going to fight one of those huge names coming up next.
And you hear in these fights, X fighter utilizes their grappling to tire fighter Y. And you saw that last weekend in a lowly heavyweight fight between the unranked Muhammad Usman and Junior Tafa. So in a matchup like this, it's much higher level. It's less
Much higher level.
It's less 130 pounds, but when you consider it for Song Yadong, if he gets taken down, if you zap those energy systems, we've seen him bounce back in some of these fights where he struggled with that pressure, with that grappling. We'll see if he's able to circle away. I think those boxing combinations, a 5-round atmosphere, Ricky Simón has been there, Song Yadong's been there the one time, but I now think that this 5-round fight actually favors Song Yadong. I think it accentuates his overall game plan, and I think he's more conducive in a fight like this with his style to win a decision. So I'm actually switching my pick in this fight. I'm going with Song Yadong. You're going with Ricky Simón. But now all of a sudden, Matt, when you look at a fight card like this, again, our graphic, they're fighting in space, and everything's all lit up like the moon. But when you consider it here, you have Simón, you have Song Yadong, you have 5 debuting fighters. Trey Waters coming in on a week's notice. 2 weeks ago, he won an LFA belt. Jamey-Lyn Horth taking on Hailey Cowan, debuting fighters. And then we also have Irina Alekseeva taking on Stephanie Egger, a fight that everybody needed to see. But there's a lot to look forward to in a bit of a downturn for the Fight Night picks where we get to try and hop back on the horse on a bit of a shorter fight card. Only 12 fights on this one.
Yeah, only 12 fights, but there should be some fun ones. Exactly. There's not like crazy name value. Conor
Only 2
McGregor's
ranked
not
fighters.
fighting on this Fight Night, but there should be some really fun fights. Again, Erosa versus Padilla, that should be a really fun one. Cortes-Acosta to Lima, for some weird reason, I'm excited for that fight, just because for Cortes-Acosta, he's one of the few young heavyweights who might be able to break into the rankings. So if he's able to win that fight, who really knows where we go from there? But there's some fun fights to break down on this.
Make sure you toss a like down below. If you're not subscribed, please do so. There's a lot of you that join in on Saturday and then you just hang out and it's a one-shot deal. But if you toss a subscription, that would be much appreciated. Question Mark Kicks 2 hours live before the fights on Saturday. And after this one, UFC 288, another bantamweight main event. Jan Dwashvili, Sandhagen you had not that long ago. And then, of course, this one here. It is really heating up. You're going to want to keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.